This is the book of Sirach, also known as Ecclesiasticus, in the book of the Apocrypha. This is chapter 43. I'm starting at verse 1. This is the modern translation, the GNTA, and it reads, "How beautiful is the bright, clear sky above us. What a glorious sight it is. The sun, when it appears, proclaims as it rises how marvelous a thing it is, made by the Most High. At noon it dries up the land. No one can stand its blazing heat. The setting sun sets fire to the hilltops, like a metal furnace glowing from the heat. It sends out fiery rays, blinding the eyes with its brightness. The Lord, YAHAWAH, who made it, is great. It speeds on its way at his command. There is also the moon, marking the passage of time, an eternal sign of the changing seasons. The moon determines the holy days. Its light grows full, then grows dim. The month is named after the moon, marvelous to watch as it grows fuller each night, a single light for the heavenly armies shining out in the dome of the sky. The shining stars make the night sky lovely, brilliant ornaments in the Lord, YAHAWASHI's high heavens. They stay in the places assigned to them by the Holy One and never relax their dutiful watch." And we just had a great sign. All praises, glory, and honor be unto Yahawah, BAHASHAM YAHWASHI. Now I'm going to read this little insert in the commentary of Judges 5 and the great glory that the Lord showed throughout the time of the wars during Joshua, going into the land that's leaving Egypt, all right, fighting in the different campaigns with Moses, then passed on to Joshua, then on down to the time of the judges, even on down to the time of the kings. And the Lord did very great wonders in the heavens for us, his people, even in the midst of battles. Now this is the commentaries of Judges 5. This is Matthew Henry. This is bullet point 1. It says the Israelites had become few and inconsiderable. Now we think about the elect now, because our people are a massive nation of people, but only a few know of this truth, know of YAHAWAH, and do call upon him, and have seen and do look for the great signs, and have seen this great sign that happened today, even the eclipse, which is a sign of things to come. And that the Lord is going to blot out the wisdom and understanding of this place and show his power. It says the Israelites have become few and inconsiderable, and yet to them Yahawah BAHASHAM gave dominion over nobles. Many of them were cut off by the enemy. Many died of grief, and perhaps some had removed their families and effects into foreign parts. This is what happened to our people. We can see it now here and today. Yet those few that remain, the elect, by divine assistance, with one brave and generous effort, not only shook off the yoke of oppression from their own neck, but it got power over their oppressors. Woo, the Lord gonna give us that power. As long as any of Yahawah's Israel remained. Ooh, hey, the Israel of God. All right, peace and mercy unto them, as Paul said. As long as any of God's Israel remain, and a remnant of Yahawah BAHASHAM, and a remnant Yahawah BAHASHAM will have in the worst of times, there is hope, be it ever so small a remnant, but Yahawah BAHASHAM can make him that remains, though it should be but one single person, triumph over the most proud and potent. Woo! And that's what the Lord is going to allow us to do through his power. And with that, giving all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHWASHI. Yahawah is the name of the Heavenly Father, in whom the world is ignorantly called Jehovah, or Yahweh. And YAHWASHI is the name of his only begotten Son, in whom the world is ignorantly called Jesus Christ, in whom we do worship. We are the Hebrew Israelites, which consists of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American, and Seminole Indians, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad. Greetings, giving double honors unto my apostles, my elders, and my teachers, a great millstone that are ruling well and continue to do so, that taught me and brothers like me this truth, this beautiful truth, beginning with the names of our power and of his anointed. Now these are the two most important things you can ever know. The name of the Heavenly Father and the name of his only begotten Son, their true and proper names in the ancient Paleo-Hebrew, our language, the Lashon QADASH, which means holy tongue. Lashon meaning tongue and QADASH meaning holy. Now these be the names that are written, all right, that we, the people of Israel, Yahshua, may call upon and will call upon, and we will see the power thereof. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, this is the name of your God and also the name of his anointed, your Savior, his Son, our King, the King of Kings. Now these be the names that are written. The name of the Heavenly Father is YAHAWAH. Yah meaning he, Hawa meaning exists or is or is to be. He is, he exists. He, the existing one, for he is a rewarder of them that diligently seeks him. And in the name of his only begotten Son, a name that is above every name given amongst men here on earth, to the Israelite man first, and also to the believer, consisting of women, children, helps of the prophets, and those that have faith. They will be calling upon that name, even the mighty name. The name, YAHAWASHI. Yah meaning he, Hawashai meaning deliverer and savior. For that is exactly what he will come and do for the second time in physical form, yet as an angelic force, for we shall see him as he is, and we shall be like him. So Lord's willingness is an edifying lesson, and Lord's will I call this lesson, his presence may be felt. His presence may be felt. Now this is the book of Ecclesiastes, aka Sirach, chapter 43, and I jump down and I'll start at verse 26. Each of the Lord, Yahawah's messengers, succeed at its task. Everything is held together by his word. We could say much more and never finish, but it all means this. The Lord, Yahawah is everything. How can we find the power to praise him? He is greater than all his creation. The Lord, Yahawah is awesome in his greatness. His power is overwhelming. Though you do your best to praise him, he is greater than you can ever express. Though you honor him tirelessly and with all your strength, you still cannot praise him enough. No one has seen him. No one can describe him. But now we know Yahawashi has seen him. And Yahawashi is described, has described him, and is the expressed image of him. And we see Yahawashi through the word. Though we have not seen the Lord Yahawashi in this lifetime with bodily eyes, we believe all the things he have said. That's why we looked at that great sign that happened in the heavens, because the Lord told us to look out for those things. All right, and for us to look up, for our salvation draweth nigh. And that was just an indicator that times are changing. It is a new time, a new age, a new era, a new season. All right? And we just have a few more prophecies to go and we're out of here. His presence may be felt. Come on now. It says, no one has seen him. No one can describe him. No one can praise him as he deserves. But the Lord Yahawashi taught us how to praise the Lord with the Lord's Prayer. Hallowed be his name. All right? His kingdom come. His will be done on earth as it is in heaven. It says, mysteries greater than these are still unknown. We know only a fraction of his works. The Lord, Yahawah made the universe and then gave wisdom to devout people. See, we looked up into the heavens and we seen his glorious show because the Lord gave wisdom to the devout of his people, the faithful of his people, so that we may have power over our oppressors. And it was a sign unto them that their kingdom is coming to an end, and us being out there prophesying is an evident token of their destruction. So with that, let's go down the line. Bear with me, brothers. We go to verse 36. Boom. Bear with me, brothers. All right. Okay. This is Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus 36:1. O Lord, Yahawah, BAHASHAM, power of the universe, look upon us and have mercy. Make every nation stand in fear of you. Woo. Take action against the foreign nations and let them witness your power. They witnessed the Lord's power this day, that all the planets were aligned. The moon crossed the sun. It was a new moon. We're about to come into a Sabbath, a new Sabbath, the changing, all right, of the year. The year literally came in. We just kept the Passover not too long ago. Then this eclipse. Then there was a lunar eclipse after the Passover and a blood moon. So the Lord is showing these signs, and he's sending fear upon the nations, because as it tells you in Luke, when you see the sun darken and the moon turn to blood, upon the earth, distress of nations and perplexity. See? Distress of nations. So the Lord is doing with these signs, and he's showing us that he's giving us mercy again. He's showing us that he's with us, as he showed our forefathers that he was with them in certain times of anguish. All right? It says, take action against the foreign nations and let them witness your power. You have used us to show them how holy you are. Now use them to show us how great you are. Woo! Because, hey, Esau Edom was broadcasting the clips like weeks before it was even going to come. So he's making the Lord to be praised. Not himself, but the Lord to be praised. See, everybody was looking for it and had the little glasses on. But, hey, ultimately, you're giving glory and honor unto Yahawah, BAHASHAM, the power of heaven, who made the heavens and the dry land, the earth, okay, and the seas. Barakatah Yahawah, BAHASHAM. Let them learn, as we have learned, that there is no power, O Lord, but you. You see? Give new signs. See, that is a sign that is known throughout history, you know, eclipses and blood moons and things of that nature. But this eclipse was different. Why? Because there's a comet that was going to shoot across the sky. The planets were going to be aligned. Okay? It's going to cross over America, Babylon, and make an X through it. The Tha in the Hebrew, the end. All right? It's just so many things. It's on the eve of a new Sabbath. Okay? Coming in. It was right after the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Right on the eve of, like, right after it. Not too long after it. We just kept it maybe, 2 weeks ago. So it's just so many things. These are new signs. And then the Lord is sending quakes in places that have never felt quakes. Tsunamis, rock slides, volcanic eruptions, signs in the heavens, things of that nature. Come on now. Give new signs. Perform new miracles. Show us your glorious strength. Bring on that appointed time when everyone can talk about the great things you do. Pour out your furious, flaming anger, and let none of our enemies survive. Destroy those who have oppressed your people. Crush all those enemy rulers who think they are the only people in the world who matter. Yep. Come on now. It's beautiful. That's what the Lord is doing. That's what he's going to do. Gather the tribes of Israel together, the elect, and give them back their land. Ultimately, all our people are going to be righteous in time, but this is the beginning. And give them back their land as you gave it to them long ago. Lord, Yahawah, BAHASHAM, have mercy on Israel, the people who are known by your name, who you called your firstborn son. Take pity on Jerusalem, which is a people before it's a place, your holy city, where you chose to stay. Fill your temple on Mount Zion with your glory and with hymns of praise. Testify for your people, whom you created in the beginning. Fulfill the prophecies that have been spoken in your name. Woo! Reward those who have put their faith in you and vindicate your prophets. That's exactly what the Lord is going to do. Now, this is back up in the commentary. Matthew Henry, bullet point 1. Who fought against them? The power of the enemy must be taken notice of, that the victory may appear the more glorious. Jabin and Sisera had been mentioned in the history, but here it appears further. Bullet point 1 with the brackets, that Amalek was in league with Jabin and sent him in assistance or endeavored to do it. Ephraim is here said to act against Amalek as the spirit, because the fruitful ones are acting against Amalek. Now this is actually talking about the tribe of Ephraim, but we can put it in the spirit that Ephraim was the one to stop the way of Amalek, right? So the fruitful ones, the ones that the Lord have made fruitful through his word, through his love, through his mercy, through the act of repentance, we're stopping the way of Amalek before he even makes his way. Boom, we cutting his ass off through the spirit and power of YAHAWASHI. This sign that happened in the heavens, best believe on the left-hand side, they were doing all types of madness. But guess what? The fruitful ones, the ones that the Lord truly loves, that the Lord has blessed, has stopped the way of Amalek through the spirit and power of YAHAWASHI through his word. We have stopped the way of them. The fruitful ones, just as Ephraim's name means he is fruitful, we are fruitful. The elect are fruitful in this ministry. It says, probably intercepting and cutting off some forces of the Amalekites that were upon their march to join Sisera. Amalek had helped Moab to oppress Israel, and now had helped Jabin. They were inveterate enemies to Yahweh's people. Their hand had always been against the throne of the Lord, and therefore they were the more dangerous. The others of the kings of Canaan, who had somewhat recovered themselves since their defeat by Joshua, joined with Jabin and strengthened his army with their forces, having the same implacable enmity to Israel that he had, and those kingdoms, when they were in their strength, having been subject to that of Hazor, these kings came and fought. Israel had no king. Their enemies had many, whose power and influence, especially acting in confederacy, made them very formidable. And yet Israel, having the Lord YAHAWASHI for their king, was too hard for them all. It is said of these kings that they took no gain of money. They were not mercenary troops hired into the service of Jabin. Such often fail in an extremity, but they were volunteers and hardy in the cause against Israel. They desired not the riches of silver, so the Chaldee, but only the satisfaction of helping to ruin Israel. Acting upon this principle, they were the more formidable and would be the more cruel. Who fought for them, bullet point 2. The several tribes that assisted in this great exploit are here spoken of with honor. For though Yahweh is chiefly to be glorified, BAHASHAM Yahushai, instruments must have their due praise for the encouragement of others. But after all, it was heaven that turned the scale. Woo! Call Yahweh BAHASHAM Yahushai. Let's get it. I'm going to play this clip, and I'm going to get another scripture. Enjoy the clip.
My body's been subjected to combat situations you could only dream of.
Woo.
So I was right. That huge power that just showed up all of a sudden. It really was you.
Woo! That's the Lord. Oh, that huge power level that showed up all of a sudden. It really was you. It was Yahweh BAHASHAM Yahushai in the midst of it all, man. In the midst of the battle. Okay, I'm gonna play it back.
So I was right. That huge power that just showed up all of a sudden. It really was you. I belong to the upper echelon of the most elite warrior class the universe has ever seen. I will not be bested, certainly not by some lowborn amateur like you. I am the greatest warrior who has ever lived. My body's been subjected to combat situations you could only dream of.
Woo! Love that. Man, I love that. Man, he said, so I have power level that showed up all of a sudden. It really was you. Yeah, he's like, hey, but that's the Lord. That's how the Lord be talking mess to these other nations, these kings that he's about to go to war with. Hey, the Lord is the greatest that lives forever, man. He's never been defeated. All right? He's put brothers in battle situations that you can only dream of through the spirit and power of his own will. Because the Lord is making us ready for these times that we're about to approach. Real quick. Want to get something. Real quick. Exodus 15. Show you who the Lord is. Then sang Moses and the children of Israel this song unto the Lord YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, and spake, saying, I will sing unto the Lord YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, for he have triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider have he thrown into the sea. The Lord defeated our enemies. Our number one enemy at that time was the Egyptians. The Lord defeated Pharaoh and his army in the sea. And we walked upon the dry ground. All right? Well, let's keep on singing. The Lord YAHAWAH is my strength and song, and he is become my salvation. He is my power, and I will prepare him an habitation. My father's God, and I will exalt him. The Lord YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, is a man of war. The Lord YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and his hosts have he cast into the sea. His chosen captains also are drowned in the Red Sea. See? Lord's gonna make a quick work of all our enemies, man. We get that how does it go? Break of day. Because I know Jacob, when he was traveling to meet Esau, he had the band of angels above him, if I'm not mistaken. Break of day. See if we can find it. Lord's willing, brothers, we can. And you few listeners out there. This is for you. This is for you. All right? The Lord is going to do what he said he's going to do. The Lord is always going to be with us. Let's see here. Let's see here. There we go. We'll start right at verse 7. Genesis 32:7. Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that was with him, and the flocks and herds and the camels into 2 bands, and said, if Esau come to the one company and smite it, then the other company which is left shall escape. And Jacob said, O power of my father Abraham, and power of my father Isaac, the Lord YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, which saidest unto me, return unto thy country and to thy kindred, and I will deal well with thee. I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies and of all the truth which thou hast showed unto thy servant. For with my staff I passed over this Jordan, and now I am become 2 bands. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he will come and smite me, and the mother with the children. And thou saidest, I will surely do thee good, and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. And he lodged there that same night, and took of that which came to his hand a present for Esau his brother, 200 she-goats, and 20 he-goats, and 200 ewes, and 20 rams, 30 milch camels with their colts, 40 kine, and 10 bulls, 20 she-asses, and 10 foals. All right, I believe that was it. Say he formed them into 2 bands. Where's that at where he was going up and the angels were above him? I believe that's how it said it. Let's see. This is where Jacob fought the angel and got his name changed to YAHAWASHI. See here. Bear with me, brothers. Okay. I believe that was it. But yeah, he was split into two bands. But there was a band of angels going with him. All right, traveling with him. Can't really find where it is exactly, but I know it's around here somewhere. But it's all right. It's all good. Get that strange act. Isaiah 28 and 21, for the Lord YAHAWAH shall rise up as in Mount Perazim. He shall be wroth as in the valley of Gibeon, that he may do his work, his strange work, and bring to pass his act, his strange act. You see that? Let's keep reading in this commentary. It says, bullet point 1, Ephraim and Benjamin. Now, Benjamin means son of the right. So the fruitful ones and the sons of the right are going to make quick work of our enemies, even in this time, through this spiritual war. All right, we're making ground. We're winning victory after victory through YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI. All right? Victory doesn't stand in the multitude of hosts, but comes from heaven, multitude of hosts. Let me get that. Multitude. Yep, 1 Maccabees 3:19, for the victory of battle standeth not in the multitude of an host, but strength cometh from heaven. That's it. Reading on, it says, Ephraim and Benjamin, those tribes among whom Deborah herself lived, bestirred themselves and did bravely by her influence upon them. For her palm tree was in the tribe of Ephraim, and very near to that of Benjamin. Out of Ephraim was there a root, and life in the root, against Amalek. There was in Ephraim a mountain called the Mount of Amalek mentioned, which some think is here meant, and some read it. There was a root in Amalek, that is, in that mountain, a strong resolution in the minds of that people to make head against the oppressors, which was the root of the matter. Herein Benjamin had set them a good example among his people. Ephraim moved after thee. Benjamin, though Benjamin was the junior tribe and much inferior, especially at this time, to Ephraim, both in number and wealth, yet when they led, Ephraim followed, in appearing for the common cause. If we be not so bold as to lead, yet we must not be so proud and sullen as not to follow even our inferiors in a good work. Ephraim was at a distance from the place of action, and therefore could not send forth many of its bows to the service, but Deborah, who was one of them, knew there was a root of them, that they were hearty well-wishers to the cause. Dr. Lightfoot gives quite another sense of this. Joshua of Ephraim had been a root of such victories against Amalek, and Ehud of Benjamin lately against Amalek and Moab. The ice being broken by Ephraim and Benjamin, Machir, the half-tribe of Manasseh beyond Jordan and Zebulun, sent in men that were very serviceable to this great design. When an army is to be raised, especially under such disadvantages as Barak now experienced from the long disuse of arms and the dispiritedness of the people, it is of great consequence to be furnished. Bullet point 1 in the brackets. With men of courage for officers, and such the family of Machir furnished them with. For thence came down governors. The children of Machir were particularly famous for their valor in Moses' time, and it seems it continued in their family. The more because they were seated in the frontiers with men of learning and ingenuity for secretaries of war, and with such they were supplied out of Zebulun. Thence came men that handled the pen of the writer, clerks that issued out orders, wrote circular letters, drew commissions, mustered their men, and kept their accounts. Thus must every man, according as he has received the gift, minister the same for the public good. The eyes see and the ears hear for the whole body. I know it is generally understood of the forwardness, even of the scholars of this tribe, who studied the law and expounded it, to take up arms in this cause, though they were better skilled in books than in the art of war. So Sir Richard Blackmore paraphrases it: the scribes of Zebulun and learned men to wield the sword laid down the pen. Ooh. Bullet point 3 in the brackets. Issachar did good service too, though he saw that rest was good, and therefore bowed his shoulder to bear, which is the character of that tribe. Yet they disdained to bear the yoke of Jabin's tribute, and now preferred the generous toils of war to a servile rest. Though it should seem there were not many common soldiers enlisted out of that tribe, yet the princes of Issachar were with Deborah and Barak, probably as a great council of war to advise upon emergencies. And it should seem these princes of Issachar did in person accompany Barak into the field of battle. Did he go on foot? They footed it with him, now consulting their honor or ease. Did he go into the valley, the place of most danger? They exposed themselves with him, and were still at his right hand to advise him. For the men of Issachar were men that had understanding of the times. Ooh, we got to understand what times we're living in, brothers. Okay, we just seen a great sign. What time is it? Bullet point 4 in the bracket. Zebulun and Naphtali, which is my dwelling and my wrestling. He is hired. See, the Lord is hiring out men that are good for the work, like Issachar, knowing, understanding the times. And then you have men that have wrestled with this world, just like Jacob with the angel, but they're going to come out victorious and be blessed. And also, we dwell in the Lord. Our dwelling place is in the Lord. Okay? Zebulun and Naphtali were the most bold and active of all the tribes, not only out of a particular affection to Barak, their countryman, but because they, lying nearest to Jabin, the yoke of oppression lay heavier on their necks than on those of any other of those. Salakia. Let me read from the yoke part. It says, the yoke of oppressors or oppression lay heavier on their neck than on those of any other tribe. Better die in honor than live in bondage. And therefore, in a pious zeal for YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM in their country, they jeoparded their lives unto the death in the high places of the field. With what heroic bravery did they charge and push on even upon the chariots of iron, despising danger and setting death itself at defiance in so good a cause. All right. Sit. Bullet point 5. The stars from heaven appeared, or acted at least on Israel's side. The stars in their courses, according to the order and direction of him, who is the great Lord, Yahawah Bashimashai of their hosts, fought against Sisera by their malignant influences, or by causing the storms of hail and thunder, which contributed so much to the rout of Sisera's army. The Chaldee reads it from heaven, from the place where the stars go forth. War was waged against Sisera. That is, the power of YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM of heaven, was engaged against him, making use of the ministration of the angels of heaven. Some way or other, the heavenly bodies not arrested, as when the sun stood still at Joshua's word, but going on in their courses, fought against Sisera, those whom YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, is an enemy to the whole creation, is at war with. It says those whom YAHAWAH, God, is an enemy to the whole creation, is at war with. Perhaps the flashes of lightning by which the stars fought was that which frightened the horses, so as that they pranced till their very hooves were broken, and probably overturned the chariots of iron which they drew, or turned them back upon their owners. And it goes to show you that, those iron chariots, the horses are already discomforted with the thunder and the lightning. All right. But the rains most likely had to come because when the soil or the ground is muddy, it's very hard for horses or people with heavy armor to move. So the Lord made it just like that. Bullet point 6 in the brackets. The rivers of Kishon fought against their enemies. It swept away multitudes of those that hoped to make their escape through it. Ordinarily, it was but a shallow river, and being in their own country, we may suppose they well knew its fords and safest passages. And yet now, probably by the great rain that fell, it was so swollen, and the streams so deep and strong, that those who attempted to pass it were drowned, being feeble and faint, and unable to make their way through it. Then were the horse hooves broken by means of the plungings. So it is in the margin. The rivers of Kishon is called that ancient river because described or celebrated by ancient historians or poets, or rather because it was designed of old. It says, or rather because it was designed of old in the counsel of YAHAWAH to serve his purposes against Sisera at this time, and did so as if it had been made on purpose. Thus the water of the old pool, God, YAHAWAH, is said to have fashioned long ago for that use to which it was put. Lord thundered from the heavens, man. The Lord showed his glorious hand. Let's get up out of there real quick. Let's go to Isaiah. See where we're at on time, not bad. Let's go to Isaiah 28. "21. It says, the Lord will come as he did against the Philistines at Mount Perazim and against the Amorites at Gibeon. He will come to do a strange thing. He will come to do an unusual deed." Now let's go to the word. Let's go to the word. Bear with me, brothers. Trying to see which word I want to get. Let's get Perazim. The word there is Paratazayim. Paratazayim means a mountain in Palestine. Breaches. So the Lord broke through the breaches with the sign in the heavens. All right? Him being that sign. The Lord swept Sisera and his army away through that flood. All right? Dealing with the bodies in the heavens to dictate what was going to go down. And it's beautiful how Issachar was in the battle, and they knew the understanding of the times what Israel ought to do. All right, man, and that's beautiful how Zebulon and Naphtali, all right, went up against Sisera preferably first. All right, and Ephraim and Benjamin, but preferably Zebulon, which I believe Barak was from Zebulon, which is a haven of ships. So, man, it's beautiful. The Lord made the breaches be broke through. All right. It says breaches. All right. It says which was the scene of a victory of David over the Philistines located in the valley of Rephaim, south of Jerusalem on the road to Bethlehem. That's it. It's beautiful. All right. The word here is for strange, for work or act or deed. Or there's Maisha. Work, labor, deed, thing done, act, business, pursuit, undertaking, achievement of deliverance and judgment. So the Lord's going to do his work of deliverance and judgment. Deeds, works, achievement, undertaking, enterprise. Okay? It is what it is. All right, let's get up out of there. See, let's go to what happened to David. Another sign in the heavens and how the Lord came through and helped him out. Let's go to Psalm 18. It says, the Lord praised for giving deliverance. It says, to the chief musician, the Psalm of David, the servant of the Lord YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, who spake unto the Lord, until the Lord, YAHWAH, who spake unto the Lord, YAHWAH, the words of this song in the day that the Lord YAHWAH delivered him from the hand of all his enemies and from the hand of Saul. And he said, I will love thee, O power. It says the Lord, says, I will love thee, O Lord YAHWAH, my strength. The Lord YAHWAH is my rock, and my fortress, and my deliverer, my power, my strength, in whom I will trust, my buckler and shield. Or Salakia, my buckler and the buckler is a shield. The buckler is really the bump on the shield. All right, which makes the shield both an offensive and defensive weapon. It's already a defensive weapon because it can block and guard and protect. But that buckler, that bump on the shield, or it might even be a spike or something that you can actually thrust at somebody, break somebody else's shield or sword or spear while just having a shield. That's what the Lord is for us. The Lord YAHWAH is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my power, my strength, in whom I will trust, my buckler and the horn, which represents power of my salvation, and my high tower, a high vantage point. We have a vantage point. We have power. We have defense and offense. We have strength. We have our deliverer, our fortress, our foundation. That's what the Lord is for us. The Lord YAHWAH is my rock, my fortress, and my savior. My power is my rock, whom I find protection. Okay? Let me read that again. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my savior. My power is my rock, in whom I find protection. He is my shield, the power that saves me, and my place of safety. Sit. Let's get the part where it said earth shook. Psalm 18:7. The earth shook and trembled. The foundations also of the hills moved, small governments, and were shaken. Because he was wroth, the Lord was angry. There went up a smoke out of his nostrils, and a fire out of his mouth devoured coals. Coals were kindled by it. It says smoke poured from his nostrils, going into those lasers from the ships, laser beams. Fierce flames leaped from his mouth, the epicenter of the chariot. Glowing coals blazed forth from him. Okay. This is the point, verse 9. He bowed the heavens also and came down, and darkness was under his feet. He rode upon the cherub and did fly. Yeah. He did fly upon the wings of the wind. Yeah. He opened the heavens and came down. Okay, let me read it again. He opened the heavens and came down. Dark storm clouds were beneath his feet. All right, the coming of the chariots, the invasion, the takeover. Okay. All right, let's want to get something else. Get something else. Bear with me, brothers. Okay. Trying to think of a scripture. How's it go? Trying to think of another scripture where the Lord showed his power in the heavens and delivered. Okay. Trying to think. Oh. Hailstones. We'll just link it all up. Let's get it. Okay, we're going to get that. And down below, we're going to get... we're going to go to the book of Sirach 47. Joshua 10, and I'll start it. Okay. I don't know where I want to start. Do I want to read Ecclesiastes 46 first or Joshua 10? But let's get it. We'll read, should start from the top, really. 5 kings attack Gibeon. Israel defeats the southern armies. Ecclesiastes 46:1. Jesus, it says right there, but really it's Joshua. The son of Nave, which is Nun, was valiant in the wars and was the successor of Moses in prophecies, who, according to his name, was made great for the saving of the elect of God and taking vengeance. And taking vengeance of the enemies that rose up against them, that he might set Israel in their inheritance. How great glory got he when he sat up in his hand. It says, how great glory got he when he did lift up his hands and stretched out his sword against the cities, who before him stood to it. For the Lord YAHAWASHI himself brought his enemies unto him. Did not the sun go back by his means, and was not one day as long as two? He called upon the Most High Lord YAHAWASHI when it says he called upon the Most High Lord Yahweh. He called upon the Most High Lord. I gotta say it again, read it again. That's the main thing. He called upon the Lord. He called upon the Most High Lord when the enemies pressed upon him on every side, and the great Lord, Yahawah Bashimashai, heard him, and with hailstones of mighty power he made the battle fall violently upon the nations, and the descent and in the descent of Beth Horon he destroyed them that resisted, that the nations might know all their, all right, and with hailstones of mighty power he made the battle to fall violently upon the nations, and in the descent of Beth Horon he destroyed them that resisted, that the nations might know all their strength, because he fought in the sight of the Lord, Yahawah Bashimashai, and he followed the mighty one. Let's read this here in Joshua 10:1. Play this and read this in Joshua. Bear with me, brothers. Bear with me.
So I was right. That huge...
Bear with it. Bear with the madness. You know, phone's been tripping, but it's all good. Enjoy the clip.
power that just showed up all of a sudden. It really was you. I belong to the upper echelon of the most elite warrior class the universe has ever seen. I will not be bested, certainly not by some lowborn amateur like you. I am the greatest warrior who has ever lived.
See, the Lord ain't about to be bested or have his men bested by some low-level amateurs like Esau, Edom, Punk Self, or these heathen. That's how in the past we've always defeated a greater force than our own. Through YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI. That's all that's needed, man. The Lord is creating the greatest warriors that have ever lived. Hey, he's the greatest warrior. And he lives forever. His son is just like him. And I'm going to get that account where Joshua came into contact with the Mashiach. Okay? And then we're going to go back to chapter 10. Read on down how the Lord stopped the sun in the sky. Just so we can get busy on our enemies. Really for the Lord to get busy on the enemy. Okay? Bear with me, brothers. Let's go to the... Bear with me, brothers. Start at verse 13. It says, the Lord's commander confronts Joshua. Who's the Lord's commander? Who's the angel of the Lord's presence? YAHAWASHI. And it came to pass when Joshua was by Jericho that he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there stood a man over against him with his sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua went unto him and said unto him, art thou for us or for our adversaries? And he said, nay, but as captain of the host of the Lord Yahawah am I now come. And Joshua fell on his face to the earth and did worship, and said unto him, what saith my Lord unto his servant? And the captain of the Lord's host, the captain of Yahweh's host, said unto Joshua, loose thy shoe from off thy foot. Same thing was told to Moses before he went to do his great mission in Egypt. Okay? And the Lord showed great signs in the midst of Pharaoh and his people. Okay? The Lord is always, man, the Lord always shows what he's about to do in the heavens. And the Lord himself enters in and does what he has to do, man. It says, and the captain of Yahweh Shemashai's, or the captain of Yahweh's host, said unto Joshua, loose thy shoe from off thy foot, for the place whereon thou standest is holy. And Joshua did so. See? Right before the battle took place, Joshua met with the Lord. Okay? through the captain of his host. The Lord YAHAWASHI is the captain and finisher of our faith. All right. Let me just read verse 1 and 2, and then we're going to go back to Joshua 10. The conquest of Jericho. Now Jericho was straitly shut up because of the children of Israel. See, Babylon is shut up because of the children of Israel. Babylon is actually separated. That's why it's known as like Tyrus. It's like a island unto itself. It's surrounded by water on all sides. But guess what? The same way how Alexander took Tyre is the same way the Lord is doing it. This dude Alexander, I believe he built like a causeway, like a bridge across the moat or across like that waterway. So that's what the Lord is doing with this word. He built us a bridge across the waterway to get to Babylon, to cut it off. Babylon was all on its own. It was by itself. But the Lord cut Babylon off even with this eclipse. He cut it off. He's like, no, this is only going to go over you. You're alone. You've been separated from the rest of the nations. Straightly shut up because of the children of Israel and of the great sign that the Lord showed in the heavens. Now Jericho was straightly shut up because of the children of Israel. None went out and none came in. And the Lord, Yahweh, said unto Joshua, see, I have given into thine hand Jericho, and the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor. See that? The Lord have already given us the land. All right? The Lord put us in battle situations that you can only ever dream of. Let's play the rest of this clip out.
My body's been subjected to combat situations you can only dream of.
Woo! And with this great sign in the heavens, it has an effect on the people on the earth. But for the men of the Lord and those that believe, the Lord is upgrading. He's powering us up. And for the wicked, he's throwing them down and showing them their end. This is Joshua 6 and 3. And ye shall compass the city, all ye men of war, and go round about the city once. Thus shalt thou do 6 days. So the Lord is allowing us to do this again. We're compassing the city. All the men of war round about the camps. All right. This word is compassing this place round about, has it trapped and cornered on all sides. All right. Now let's go to Joshua chapter 10. I'm going to read it out. That's pretty much it. And I'm going to play that clip again, but let me read the rest of this here. This is Ecclesiasticus 46 and 5. He called upon the Most High Lord when the enemies pressed upon him on every side, and the great Lord heard him. And with hailstones of mighty power he made the battle to fall violently upon the nations. And in the descent of Beth Horon he destroyed them that resisted, that the nations might know all their strength, because he fought in the sight of the Lord, and he followed the mighty one. In the time of Moses also he did a work of mercy, he and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, in that they withstood the congregation and withheld the people from sin and appeased the wicked murmurings. You see that? And of the 600,000 people on foot, they too were preserved to bring them, the new generation, into the heritage, even unto the land that floweth with milk and honey, the land of Israel, holy land. Joshua 10 and 1. Now it came to pass when Adonai Zedek, king of Jerusalem, had heard how Joshua had taken Ai and had utterly destroyed it, as he had done to Jericho and her king, so he had done to Ai and her king, and how the inhabitants of Gibeon had made peace with Israel and were among them, that they feared greatly, because Gibeon was a great city, as one of the royal cities, and because it was greater than Ai, and all the men thereof were mighty. Man, you see that? See, this sign that came over Babylon, the world seen it like, whoa. The men of the Lord are in that place, and look at how that place is going down and being destroyed. And while the armies on the outside, the nations without Babylon are gathering to come up against it. Woo! And then the armies of heaven are coming against this place. And then the bodies in the heavens, all right, are like are signs, are an army themselves. It says, let's get that lances. Let me get that. There's a great sign happened in the heavens during the time of the Maccabees, and they was hoping that it was a good omen. Let's see. Yep. Boom, there it is. This is 2 Maccabees 5 and 1. About the same time, Antiochus prepared his second voyage into Egypt. And these damn demons shot rockets or whatever up into the sky. They're trying to prepare against the Lord, but guess what the Lord is doing in the heavens? Why this man Esau Edom is preparing for war. World War III is coming. Is on the brink. And then it happened that through all the city, for the space almost of 40 days, there were seen horsemen running in the air, the angels, and clothed in cloth of gold and armed with lances, like a band of soldiers, and troops of horsemen in array, encountering and running one against another, with shaking of shields and a multitude of pikes, and drawing of swords, and casting of darts, and glittering of golden ornaments, and harness of all sorts. Wherefore every man prayed that that apparition might turn to good. You see how the signs in the heaven, we know that is an omen, whether for good or ill. See, all the men at that time were praying like, man, I hope that's a good sign for us. Hopefully it's not for evil. But everybody that's seen this eclipse, it was for different reasons. We know what it's about. We know that it entails the demise and end and destruction of Babylon. But it entails also a new beginning for Israel, because it's on the eve of a new month, a Sabbath, the changing of Sabbaths. Okay? So it is what it is. Reading on. It says, bear with me, brothers. Reading on. Verse 3, jumping up in Joshua 10 and 3. Wherefore Adonai Zedek, king of Jerusalem, sent unto Hoham, king of Hebron, and unto Piram, king of Jarmuth, and unto Japhia, king of Lachish, and unto Debir, king of Eglon, saying, come up unto me, and help me, that we may smite Gibeon, for it hath made peace with Joshua and with the children of Israel. Therefore the 5 kings of the Amorites, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, and the king of Eglon, gathered themselves together and went up, they and all their host, and encamped before Gibeon, and made war against it. And the men of Gibeon sent unto Joshua to the camp to Gilgal, saying, slack not thy hand from thy servants. Come up to us quickly, and save us, and help us. For all the kings of the Amorites that dwell in the mountains are gathered together against us. So Joshua ascended from Gilgal, he and all the people of war with him, and all the mighty men of valor. And the Lord YAHAWAH said unto Joshua, fear them not, for I have delivered them into thine hand. There shall not a man of them stand before thee. Woo. See that? Joshua therefore came unto them suddenly, and went up from Gilgal all night. And the Lord YAHAWAH discomfited them before Israel, and slew them with great slaughter at Gibeon, and chased them along the way that goeth up to Beth-horon, what we just read about, and smote them to Ezekah and unto Makkedah. Let's read it in the NLT. The Lord threw them into a panic, and the Israelites slaughtered great numbers of them at Gibeon. Then the Israelites chased the enemy along the road to Beth-horon, killing them along the way to Ezekah and Makkedah. And it came to pass, as they fled from before Israel, and were in the going down to Beth-horon, that the Lord YAHAWAH cast down great stones from heaven upon them unto Ezekah, and they died. They were more which died with hailstones than they which the children of Israel slew with the sword. Then spake Joshua to the Lord YAHAWAH in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites. But let me read it in the NLT, verse 11. And the Amorites retreated down the road from Beth-horon. The Lord destroyed them with a terrible hailstorm from heaven that continued until they reached Ezekah. The hail killed more of the enemy than the Israelites killed with the sword. Verse 12. Then spake Joshua to the Lord YAHAWAH in the day when the Lord Yahweh delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon. On the day the Lord Yahweh gave the Israelites victory over the Amorites, Joshua prayed to the Lord Yahweh by BAHASHAM in front of all the people of Israel. He said, let the sun stand still over Gibeon, and the moon over the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Yashar, which means upright? In the book of the book of the upright is the scriptures. It's written right here. We read it in Ecclesiasticus 46. All right. We're reading it in Joshua 10 right here. All right. And then it pops up in other places. All right. How the Lord did this great victory. Oh, we read it in the song of Barak and Deborah, where they pretty much Sisera was getting discomfited, and his chariots of iron were sinking into the mire and the mud. His horses were in a frantic. His forces were dismayed. Amalek was cut off. All right, but they mentioned in the song how the Lord did the same great wonder, but he did it in the time of Joshua when he stopped the sun and the moon. And that's what we're reading right here. It says, so the sun stood still in the midst of heaven and hasted not to go down about the whole day. And hasted not to go down about a whole day. And there was no day like that before it or after it, that the Lord Yahweh, BAHASHAM, hearkened unto the voice of a man. For the Lord Yahweh, BAHASHAM, fought for Israel. His presence may be felt. The presence of the Lord, man. All right, let's play it.
So I was right. That huge power that just showed up all of a sudden. It really was you. I belong to the upper echelon of the most elite warrior class the universe has ever seen. I will not be bested, certainly not by some lowborn amateur like you. I am the greatest warrior who has ever lived. My body's been subjected to combat situations you could only dream of.
Woo, that's it.
So I was right. That huge power that just showed up all of a sudden. It really was you.
Woo! Now I got one more. The mulberry trees. All right. How the Lord always is in the midst, man. He's going to give us a great victory. Believe that. All right. There's so many more I want to get, but, for the sake of time, we're going to close it out. Okay. Yep, right there. First Chronicles 14:14. Therefore David inquired again God, and power said unto him, go not up after them, turn away from them, and come upon them over against the mulberry trees. And it shall be, when thou shalt hear a sound of going in the tops of the mulberry trees, that then thou shalt go out to battle, for Yahweh is gone forth before thee to smite the host of the Philistines. See that? How about that? Let's go there. All right, let's read in the NLT. And once again, David asked Yahweh what to do. Do not attack them straight on, Yahweh replied. Instead, circle around behind and attack them near the poplar trees. When you hear a sound like marching feet in the tops of the poplar trees, go out and attack. That will be the signal that Yahweh is moving ahead of you to strike down the Philistine army. Woo! That's the sign. We got the sign that the Lord is about to take the wisdom and understanding from this place. And he's going out before us. All right? It says, so David did what Yahweh commanded, and they struck down the Philistine army all the way from Gibeon, to Gezer. right? Gibeon is a very known place for just things happening. You see, Lord's getting busy, man, in Gibeon, man. Seems like that's the place right there. It says, so David's fame spread everywhere, and the Lord Yahawah BAHASHAM caused all nations to fear David. Hey, the Lord is raising up that house of David. All right, the Lord showing that he's with his people again, beginning with the hopeful elect. Now let's get real quick Gibeon. All right, real quick. I like really going into these things. Praise the Lord. Now this is gar is the word there in the Hebrew is gabar. You know, I already know what gabar means. Warrior. Okay. So it's Gabayr, Gabaywan, Gibeon is Gabaywan. Okay, hill city, city on a hill. All right, city on a hill cannot be hid. Woo. Pertaining to a hill, i.e., built on a hill. Okay, tabernacle. Okay, let's get the root of the word. Let's get the root of the word. Goodbye. It says hill. Okay. Yep. Let's get it. Oh, last scripture. I gotta get the Psalm. Woo! Just came to me just right now. Call on him line. Psalm 121. And we recite this psalm on the Pesach and all the time, but it just came to me. It says the Lord, the keeper of Israel. I'm gonna read this whole psalm out, might as well. And it reads, a song of degrees. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills. Woo! See? Gibeon. This is a hill city. All right, it says, from whence cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord, Yahawah BAHASHAM, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord Yahawah BAHASHAM is thy keeper. The Lord Yahawah BAHASHAM is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day. Woo! We seen what happened in the heavens. Lord's going to cover us. It's going to be that shade to cover us, man. He's going to give us that understanding and that wisdom. Wisdom and knowledge is going to be the stability of our times. We're going to be as full as the moon with the understanding that the Lord is going to give. It says, the sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord Yahawah BAHASHAM shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. So I'm going to play this clip out and I'm going to close this lesson. Shalawam.
I belong to the upper echelon of the most elite warrior class the universe has ever seen. I will not be bested, certainly not by some lowborn amateur like you. I am the greatest warrior who has ever lived. My body's been subjected to combat situations you can only dream of. Ah, so I was right. That huge power that just showed up all of a sudden. It really was you.
Woo! It really was the Lord. It was the Lord, man. The Lord is always in that place. The Lord is always watching. The Lord is always there. The Lord is our mighty protection and strong stay in the day of trouble. So that power source that I felt, it really was you. Is Yahawah BAHASHAM, man, because you felt something when that sign in the heavens was going on. I know all brothers felt it. But I was just, we were all praising the Lord. I know I was. So with that, giving all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM QADASH, by whom we do function, double honors unto my apostles, my elders, and my teachers at Great Millstone that are ruling well and continue to do so. Salutations, peace, and blessings unto the hopeful elect, that house of David, to you brothers out there fighting this good fight of faith. I say shalawam to you sisters doing that which is becoming of women. Shalawam to those that are addicted unto this ministry. I say shalawam. Those when Lord's willing, you have been edified. Until the next time, I say shalawam. Shalawam.
Ah, so I was right. That huge power that just showed up all of a sudden. It really was you.